to organized labor decision on this particular one. The presidency is reiterating that he is committed to dealing with the menace, calling on all political parties and Ghanaians to unite in the fight against Galamsey. We have details of that shortly.
Much later on the program, Electoral Commission set to commence printing of notices of polls and ballot papers for the December 7 general election. We have details of that for you.
Here on your Election Command Center, we'll give you an update on what is happening across the campaign trails and also give you all the details, especially some 59 days, election day, December 7th, what exactly the various political parties are saying. The MPP is alleging that organized labor has motives aligned with the NDC's political strategy for the 2024 elections. We have details of that. Former President John H. Kumkofo has also been talking about this matter of illegal mining. Stay with us. We have details of that plus the latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour 30 minutes here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Remember, we're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're streaming live on Facebook now at 3FM 927.
And let's go straight into the stories we have for you today. And hottest on the plate, organized labor has suspended its much anticipated nationwide strike slated for Thursday, October 10, 2024. This follows an emergency meeting this afternoon where union leaders assessed the situation and agreed to call off the industrial action. Labour says that its decision is based on assurances from the government to ramp up efforts to tackle Galamsey, which has caused extensive damage to water bodies and forest reserves. Let's hear spokesperson of Organised Labour and Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Joshua Ansah.
Organised Labour declared a nationwide strike. We defer from October 10th, 2024. This followed the failure of government to address our demands to halt illegal mining in and around river bodies and forest reserves, as outlined in our press statement on October 11, 2024. Subsequently, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, met with the leadership of Organized Labour on October 3, 2024. At that meeting, government offered a series of measures it intended to implement as part of efforts to combat the menace of illegal mining in the country. At a meeting of Organized Labour on October 7, 2024, the meeting resolved that the measures announced by government were not adequate in addressing our demands and stopping the dangers posed by illegal mining. We therefore affirmed the strike notice and informed the government accordingly. Yesterday, October 8, 2024, the government team met with the leadership of Organized Labour and Ghana Employers Association. The meeting discussed at length Organized Labour's response to the earlier measures announced by government. Following this meeting, government offered enhanced and time-bound measures in respect of our demands and the fight against illegal mining. These measures include: 1, the revocation of the environmental protection, that's the mining in forest reserves, Regulations 2022, LI 2642. His Excellency the President has directed the Minister responsible for lands and natural resources to submit a memorandum for the revocation of the LI to Parliament when it reconvenes on Tuesday, October 15, 2024. The redeployment of the military and other law enforcement agencies to flush out illegal miners from water bodies and forest reserves. The military is now supporting the forest guards of the Forestry Commission to protect the forest reserves from destruction by illegal miners and loggers. Government, working with the judiciary, has already established 14 dedicated courts, 7 high courts and 7 circuit courts to handle illegal mining cases. Collaboration with the organized labor and other stakeholders to fight illegal mining, government has asked organized labor to nominate representatives to be part of the stakeholders committee to fight illegal mining in the country. 5, government supports the call by organized labor for all presidential candidates to sign a pact committing to the fight against illegal mining. 6, government affirmed its commitment to engage with stakeholders, including organized labor and the Ghana Employers Association, to bring an end to illegal mining in Ghana. These are significant concessions that organized labor demands and threats have forced government to make towards combating illegal mining, that's Galamsey, in Ghana. Comrades, organized labor has therefore decided to suspend the intended strike action. We are calling all workers to report for work on 10th of October 2024 and beyond. Organized labor will keenly monitor the implementation of these measures which government has made, and government will hear from us if it fails to do the needful.
And you heard that Joshua Ansah, he is the Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, as well as spokesperson for organized labor. And shortly, we'll be walking you through some of the demands by organized labor. But ahead of that, Alfred.
So while we are at it, in fact, the specific demands that organized labor put on the plate was the declaration of a state of emergency. That has not been done, as far as we do know now. And plus the other measures that they asked for, including the setting up of courts to deal with issues of illegal mining. According to the statement from organized labor, there's been the commitment by government for the revocation of the Environmental Protection, Mining and Forest Reserves Regulation, LI 2462. The president has directed the minister responsible for lands and natural resources to submit a memorandum for the revocation of the LI to Parliament when it reconvenes on Tuesday, October 15. Also, the government, working with the judiciary, has already established 14 dedicated courts, 7 high courts and 7 circuit courts to handle illegal mining cases. And also, the government supports the call by organized labor for all presidential candidates to sign a pact committing to the fight against illegal mining. Government affirmed its commitment to engage with stakeholders, including organized labor and the Ghana Employers Association, to bring an end to illegal mining in Ghana. Question is, how far-reaching are these issues and also these measures that have been agreed upon? Reason why labor has called off the strike. That's the conversation on the minds of many. And Daniel Opoku is a labor correspondent, is joining us on the telephone, who's been monitoring the meetings in there. Daniel, what's the latest to what's happening where you are?
Right, so good evening to you, Alfred. Basically, that's what the Secretary General just said. The organized labor has intended to call off or suspend a nationwide strike. Basically, that's what they have done. Based on the commitment they got from the Sector Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, and also the commitment from the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, and above all, the commitment by the President to roll out these measures where they tabled the courts to be set up. But the only thing which has been left out is a state of emergency, where it was captured aptly in a statement that when Parliament reconvenes, that is when they will look at some of these issues. Because obviously, when the last time they met the President raised the issue about parliamentary processes that this particular state of emergency must go through. So now Labour has called off or suspended the strike and have asked the entire workers nationwide to resume work, or not to embark on it, but rather to go to work and allow other discussions to proceed.
But we know that there was some heated arguments and that during that meeting that preceded this statement by the TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansah. We're already seeing statement from UTAG, University Teachers Association of Ghana, saying that they are going solo. They are going ahead with the strike beginning tomorrow. Tell me more about this disagreement.
That's absolutely right, Alfred. Alfred, you realize that UTAG was the first union that issued a statement around the 10th or the 9th of September, when they said if government does not ban small-scale mining and illegal activities, UTAG will proceed on a strike. Now, after UTAG became part of the organized as a bigger body, then all of them may have to sing the same thing. So this afternoon, UTAG came to the meeting after the decision they had taken yesterday. At the close of yesterday, all their campuses nationwide had backed the call for them to embark on a nationwide strike. But when UTAG appeared in the meeting today, then the decision of UTAG was varied. It was varied in the sense that the leadership of organized labor came to inform the plenary about the decision of government and the commitments of government based on the initiatives that the government has currently rolled out. And UTAG, after the meeting, was saying that the commitment by government, the initiatives rolled out are not sustaining, are not far-reaching enough. For that reason, there should be a concrete measure in terms of there should be a proper announcement of the state of emergency and also announcement of the total ban of small-scale and legal activities. They believe that has not been captured. For that reason, it was out of place for organized labor to succumb to the direction of government for them to call off the strike. But because it is a larger public, it is a larger organized labor body, about 80 to 90% of members of organized labor supported the need not to embark on the strike. And the UTAG alone decided that for them, they will proceed with their nationwide strike, believe that with more pressure on government for government to be able to call off the strike. So then, for example, we ended up even accusing the leadership of organized labor of being incompetent, describing the whole meeting as a charade. We can even take a listen to what, for example, told the leadership after speaking to the media.
Yesterday, October 8, 2024, the government team met with the leadership of organized labor and Ghana Employers Association. The meeting discussed at length organized labor's response to the earlier measures announced by government. Following this meeting, government offered enhanced and time-bound measures in respect of our demands and the fight against illegal mining. These measures include the revocation of the environmental protection, that is the mining in forest reserves, regulations 2022.
So essentially, that's Daniel, UTAG is not alone in this departure, as it were, the dissenting position they've taken against what the TUC announced today, that they are no more going ahead. You've mentioned the General Agriculture Workers Union as well. GAWO is joining UTAG in this strike. Which other union again is still going ahead with the strike despite the TUC's declaration that there's not going to be any strike?
Right, so Alfred, GAWO is not joining any strike announced by UTAG, because GAWO issued a statement by then. They have not organized the meeting this afternoon. So GAWO issued a statement. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association also issued a statement, not embarking on a strike. But then they had not convened this afternoon's meeting. So right after this afternoon's meeting, then the conclusion of the meeting indicated that yes, there was no need to embark on a strike based on the commission. All of them have backtracked that they are not embarking on any nationwide strike except UTAG. UTAG believes that the issues raised by government are not convincing enough. For that reason, they will proceed with the nationwide strike. So it is only UTAG that is going solo. And even that, for example, was saying that just this evening they are going to meet as a national executive body and across the various campuses, as they did yesterday, to vote in support of the strike. So what the constituents will tell them, that is exactly what the decision will say. But today, for them, they believe that they will push the agenda to embark on the strike until government bans. Apart from UTAG, no other union is ready to embark on any nationwide strike.
And so it is in the case that some labor unions staged a walkout during the meeting earlier today.
Right. So, Alfred, no labor union staged a walkout today. I have seen on a certain media portal where they are saying that the leadership of NAS, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, led by Mr. Thomas Sanko, staged a walkout. No. Mr. Sanko came to the meeting with a delegation. So normally he doesn't come alone. He comes with his head of conditions of service and other deputy executives to be part of him in the meeting. But usually when Mr. attends meetings, then in the middle he will leave to attend another meeting, then he will leave the delegation behind. That is exactly what happened. He left his other members in the meeting. For that reason, he had to leave the meeting. That's why other media portals have reported that the leadership of NAT walked out of the meeting. Well, unfortunately, the leadership of NAT had a delegation in this afternoon's meeting. So it's inaccurate. It's absolutely inaccurate that the leadership of NAS worked out of meeting. There were other members who represented NAS in the meeting this evening.
Danny, appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Daniel Opoko is our chief labor correspondent, giving us details of what happened at that meeting earlier today.
Let's bring you some more on this, and we're joined by Jamaldeen Tonzwa, former legal advisor to Operation Vanguard. If you can hear us, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Now, the military, together with Small Scale Miners Association, are to revive Operation Halt to clamp down on illegal mining, as it were. Obviously, the previous campaign failed, and I remember you told us about that earlier. What should be done this time around? I mean, how differently should we go about this?
Well, at the heart of this problem, and I keep saying it's first of all, good evening to you and to your cherished listeners. But at the heart of this problem is a lack of political will to really, if you like, substantially abate or eradicate illegal mining. Until we are able to tackle that problem, many of the things that we are instituting would not help us. And so, like you rightly said, if we have had Operation Halt 1, Halt 2, we even stepped it up or beefed it up to become Operation Vanguard, and then we had to withdraw the troops, and then we reintroduced Operation Halt, and we are announcing we are going back to Operation Halt. It's just much ado about nothing. So much confusion out there. There is nothing to expect from securitizing or militarizing this problem. And in any case, we run the risk of tarnishing the image of the military when we put it in a problem like this, which has shown that, look, you have political influences because people have vested interest in this matter, and we've heard so many people talk about it. Recently, the Greater Accra Regional Minister was quoted on one of the media platforms to have said that the members of the ruling party are making the fight against illegal mining. But you also have situations where data has revealed that most of the people who are mining in forest reserves are people linked to the ruling party. So this points to nothing but the fact that there is lack of political commitment to that fight. And so, look, until we address that point, all that we are doing would lead to nothing.
Lack of political will, lack of political commitment, you say, but organized labor doesn't seem to view it that way. It has just suspended a strike because it feels that the assurances coming in from the government this time around are good enough.
Well, I don't want to go into that, but one thing that I know, and I've said this on other platforms, and maybe even your platform, that politicians understand one language. I mean, fortunately for us, we have less than 2 months to the elections. I mean, if they are going to play games with this, on the day of the election, let us really show them that we are very angry and we are dissatisfied with these approaches. I think that it's a window dressing. I don't believe in any of the mechanisms that have been instituted. None of them is new. We've had countless opportunities that have shown us that these are pointing towards failure and nothing else. So if we keep doing the same things, expecting to get different results, I think we're just tickling ourselves and expecting to laugh at our own tickles, right?
So do I hear you say that you're disappointed organized labor has taken the word of the government hook, line, sinker and decided to suspend the strike that a lot of Ghanaians were looking forward to?
No, I'm sorry. These are your words. I said I didn't want to comment on organized labor sin. What I would rather prescribe is that, look, let us not let politicians set the agenda. We shouldn't wait and politicians will tell us they know the way, because they've shown us many times that they are either incapable or they do not want to really give us the right solutions. And so let citizens set the agenda. Let us tell them what we want. And so during the public forum that Nature and Development Foundation organized at TV3 just a few weeks ago, what I prescribed was that let us as citizens take the rules away from the politicians, because this is the point where politicians really understand that sovereignty belongs or resides in the people and must be exercised in the interest of the people. On the 7th day of December, let us come out and vote, in a way that would show politicians and send a clear message that You can play to the gallery as much as you want, but we know what we want and we know what is right. And so, I mean, all hope is not lost. We have less than 60 days, or just about 60 days, to send that point down in a very clear way.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Jamaldeen Tonswa, former legal advisor to Operation Vanguard.
It's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. Loads of you sharing your thoughts on this latest development with the fight against illegal mining, with Labour calling off that strike. And we have also the conference of the Catholic superiors also coming through with a statement demanding the declaration of a state of emergency. The conference of major superiors of religious congregations Ghana of the Catholic Church, they've called on President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency in view of the destruction caused by illegal mining and small-scale mining, throwing its weight behind the environmental prayer walk slated for Friday. The conference of superiors say, after writing 9 letters to the presidency with no response, it is forced to publicly come out and take the route of a peaceful walk. National President of the Justice, Peace and Integrity of Creation, Reverend Father Nicholas Azani, addressed the media in Accra earlier today.
Small-scale mining has become a national public disaster, leading to destructions of water bodies, forests and farmlands, pollution of rivers and water source, loss of biodiversity and ecosystem destruction, health risks for communities and miners, economic losses and social instability. Clearly, this menace of the destroying of our water bodies, land and atmosphere is not only perpetrated by illegal mining, known as galamsey, but also by some legal mining companies. The Catholic Archdiocese of Accra and the Conference of Major Superiors of the religious congregations in Ghana recognize their moral obligation to protect God's creation and promote integral human development, not only in words, but also in action, as the Latinists say, facta non verba. In light of the above, the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra and the Conference of Major Superiors of the Religious in Ghana are calling on all Catholics, Christians and all well-meaning Ghanaians to join the environmental prayer walk against galamsey. The goals of this prayer walk is to raise awareness about devastating effect of the galamsey, advocate for government to declare a state of emergency to stop all forms of mining activities, to allow for evaluation of the damages and also healing of the land. Mobilize Catholics and Ghanaians to demand that government acts now and not keep giving promises. Foster collaboration among stakeholders to address the issue of mining activities that are destructive to our environment. And finally, to promote environmental sustainability and protection.
That's the National President of Justice, Peace and Integrity of Creation, Reverend Father Nicholas Azani there. But let's stay a bit further on this matter, and especially because of what's going to be happening on Friday. We understand that there's going to be a prayer walk slated for Friday with the Conference of the Superiors of the Catholic Church there. But Reverend Father Raymond Osei-Tutu is the Chancellor of the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra. He's joining us on the telephone. Reverend Father Osei-Tutu, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana on Hot Edition.
Good evening to everybody here.
Great to have you. First off, let us establish it. Did you indeed write 9 letters to the presidency that you did not receive any responses over the period?
We have the Ghana Bishops' Conference over the years has, in relation to environmental degradation, has issued a communique up to that effect. Not that we have written specific letters in that just that. But the Ghana Bishops Conference over the years has issued 9 communiques and directed at the president and directed at the people of Ghana to be able to look at this. You will understand that where we are today didn't start just from today, neither did it start from this government. Yeah.
I see. And what were the specific, demands or expectations in those letters that you wrote, which were not responded to?
These communique that came out from the Ghana Bishops Conference. First of all, let me just clarify that I am not speaking on behalf of the Ghana Bishops Conference, so it will be even better to ask them, they who emanated those letters and the communique. I am speaking on behalf of the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, which belongs to the Ghana Bishops Conference, by the way. But it is the Archbishop, together with the Conference of Major Superiors, looking at the various communiques that has come out from the conference, as well as call from well-meaning Ghanaians are saying that this is the time to act. We have never seen, never heard, never dreamt of what is happening, and that is why we are coming up. So that reference is we are saying on the backdrop of the various communique that has come over the years. Now we feel it is time to call the government and every other body who is responsible to act.
I see. Now that we're hearing, one of the major expectations of not just the bishops' conference and also the archdiocese that you belong to have Labour go on a strike, as it were, to send a strong message that we cannot continue to do different things and expect the same things and expect different results. This period of Galamsey should not be a no action talk only period. That strike has been called off because, according to Labour, government has met a number of its expectations. So it's not going to happen. You are calling for the consideration of a declaration of a state of emergency. That was one of the demands of Labour. Well, that has not happened, but they are calling off the strike. So how does it strike you? Well,
I guess we need to distinguish that we are all Ghanaians calling for the same good, but we are independent bodies. And ours is that the problem that we are facing is not only today. It has been a systemic problem of which in these last years has become endemic and has grown overboard. Now, whether if the government has announced and has met Labour, it has met Labour's concerns, but has it met Ghanaians' concern? Has it stopped the menace? Has it stopped environmental degradation? I think anybody should be asking yourself, that a promise is not like an action. So we need to stop the, just saying that whether it has promised to do it. No, even in our communique, we said no more promises, because it's like we are eating our tomorrow today. That is not fair. We don't have the right. We don't have the right to destroy posterity's food. This is not right. So we don't have any thinking about today alone. We are looking at tomorrow. We are looking at the day after tomorrow. So unless you are telling me, unless anybody is saying that the water bodies, the land, the Galamsey, the legal mining that are mining in illegal ways has stopped, until it stops, we don't stop praying. We don't stop talking about it. We don't stop advocating for that which is right.
Reverend Father, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And we'll look forward to Friday as well. We'll be with you every step of the way.
We use this opportunity to invite all and sundry and thank God that with this announcement that we are going to have a prayer walk, now we see that things are happening. So we are saying that now it means that everybody should come out and pray. If just the announcement of the prayer can cause this action, then what about when we pray, oh, God is good, Ghana, God bless our homeland, Ghana.
And make us great and strong. Thank you.
Thank you.
As Reverend Father Raymond Osei, Chancellor, Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, there. And they are preparing for their Friday prayer walk. We'll see how things play out.
Well, they may be preparing for their Friday prayer walk, but the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana is also supporting the suspension of the strike by organized labor. There's a statement coming in just some minutes ago, and it's titled Cancellation of Indefinite Strike. Reorganized labor strike over illegal mining Galamsey. It says respectfully following the organized labor engagement with the government and enhanced measures announced by the government to tackle the menace of illegal mining, organized labor at its emergency meeting held today, 9th October 2024, resolved to call off the indefinite strike. Accordingly, the National Executive Council of JUSAC have suspended the indefinite strike. All employees of the Judicial Service have been directed to report to work tomorrow, Thursday, 10th October 2024, in line with the decision of or by organized labor. So that's a statement coming in from the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana. But let's speak to Michael Pepra, who is president of the Small Scale Miners Association. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening for having me.
We read a statement earlier from the government announcing certain measures, including collaboration with a group like yours to, as it were, reinvent the military operation in our forest reserves and other areas to stop illegal mining. Has your group been contacted yet?
We just see it on the media that this time around government is going to include us to augment the operations being done by the military. So we are yet to have an official communique from government.
But since you heard it, have you reached out to find out whether what you've heard is true?
As a matter of fact, we are trying to engage government on the way forward. So I can speak on the fact that we just heard the news on the social media or from you, the journalist.
Yes, so if I heard you correctly, the last statement you made, are you saying that you've already contacted somebody in government to see how you can collaborate to deal with illegal mining?
Yes, we're trying to get to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources so that at least we will know the model of the operation. As a matter of fact, we want to reiterate that those calls for the destruction, for the stop of destruction of our various forest reserves and then the destruction of our water bodies with small-scale miners, we are in support of any action to curb this illegal menace that we've been faced with. But the truth of the matter is, if we are going to use the military approach, it is not going to yield any result. This is a socio-economic problem. And what is government doing? Well, as an alternative livelihood for these people that we are going to drive away. So we think that using the brute force, not using the bottom-up approach, will yield to nothing. And we can state for a fact that those people in the various forest reserves, especially the politicians who are using Chinese to mine with impunity in our various forest reserves, the military cannot go there and stop them. It has happened before. When Operation Vanguard was inaugurated, it came to the public light that they were even protecting these Chinese criminals, and some of these military were in those various forests protecting them. So we don't see any goodwill that will drive these people out of the forest reserve. They are only using us as a decoy. So what we know to court the support of the media and the country as a whole.
Having made that point, though, how prepared are you to collaborate with the ministry? I mean, you just talked about trying to reach the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. How do you intend to work with the government, although you don't believe in the military approach?
We have told them, if indeed we want to really solve this problem, then we should have, it shouldn't be from the organized people. At least the enforcement should have been done before. There shouldn't be pressure on government for government to act. So government is only acting because there's a pressure from organized labor. So it means before, did not show any enough goodwill in the curb against illegal mining. And the truth of the issue is, whenever people talk about Galamsey, it is the small-scale miners who have gone through the lay-down procedure in acquiring their license. We are the culprits. So we are telling government in the face that this time around, he shouldn't give us a lip service. At least if indeed we want to fight, then it means we need to fight and win. But in so doing, we need to understand the problem. This is a socio-economic problem, so you have not created a job for them. Even if you drive them away, we should understand that still the military comes with a cost. What is the budgetary allocation for the military? How are we going to sustain this approach? Or are we going to always use the knee-jerk reaction? So come on, we need to understand the problem and we need to fight it head-on. By using the approach of using the military, we will fail. And we've used the same approach 1980 to now. And we've not yielded any results. We've not gotten any better results. So why don't we use a better approach?
So what
are the issues? There are no enforcement. The agencies that are mandated to make sure that they will enforce the law are under-equipped. Why don't we look into that? And to just use the military for a short time, and in the long time, we just come back to the same issue.
So what I hear you say is that when you get in touch with the minister, that's what you intend to put to him?
Yes, we are telling them using the military approach to yield to nothing. We've started with Operation Cowlet, Operation Vanguard, Hot 1, Hot 2, Galam Stop. It has yielded to nothing. We need to come and face the problem head on so that at least this time around, we will not come back to the same Galamsey issue again.
And my final question to you, I know that you said you're making efforts to reach the ministry. Do you have an idea when you think you can do that?
As soon as possible.
Okay, we'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. And that was Michael Pipa, president of the Small Scale Miners Association.
Let's still say a bit further on this matter now, and let's go back to Labour, because they are the focus today with the development that has sent waves of mixed reactions to many of you who are listening and watching us right now on 3FM 92.7, also on Facebook at 3FM 927. Abraham Kumsin is a General Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Labour, one of the major stakeholders in the organized labor in this country. Mr. Kumsin, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening.
You held a meeting today, TUC, communicated a decision to call off the strike.
Yes.
Is it one that the Ghana Federation of Labour is in agreement with?
I would say no. You see, the problem is about the organized labor itself. I've been saying it, that we are not organized. If we are properly organized, we have dealt with this issue in a manner that positive results would have been, achieved. But we are not organized. I've been saying this time and again, that we need to put structures in place that will help to, pursue these struggles. You see, and I listened to the small-scale miners. They have interest to protect, and if they are not into, destroying the destruction of forest reserves and the pollution of the water bodies, we thank God that they are not involved. But you see, the problem has to do with the government, the president himself. We know of Professor Fumfon-Boateng's report, and it was very clear, emphatic, that the people involved in this Galamsey are all at the presidency. So if you detail military guys to go and stop it, it's just some camouflage, because when they leave Accra, they will call them and say, look, why? It's our job, it's our business. So please, tone down. Don't go and then, harass the guys. the people, unless we uproot the source, the people who are behind this whole activities, the kingpins, they are at the presidency. So you see me, all along I had issues with my colleagues in the organized labor fraternity. I had issues because we have not been able to structure ourselves, and we are just beating about the bush. Because I was at the meeting Monday, and it was an eyesore. The way people were throwing blows and all this, if we have really structured ourselves, this things wouldn't happen. And I've been stressing on structure. I think last I said it on your program that we used to have the Industrial Relations Act of 1965, which recognized only the TUC as the representative of Ghanaian workers. We were the mouthpiece, and that was it. Then, that law also was not consistent with the 1992 Constitution and also the ILO Conventions 87 and 98. So we got it amended in 2003. 2003 did not mention TUC again. They brought organized labor. And this organized labor, unfortunately, was not defined. The law did not define organized labor. So the TUC continued to exercise their leadership role and that sort of thing, which was wrong. Because in the core meetings, they would not invite some groups, and they were taking certain decisions which were not, in the interest of the majority of the workers. So we went to court, 2013, to challenge the authority and the mandate of the TUC. We were in court for 3 years. Then there was some intervention from the employers and the Minister of Employment and all that. So we had consent judgment, and we gave ourselves how we're going to deal with this structure. From 2017 to 2016 up to now, we have had series of seminars, workshops to try to develop the structure. But we've gone far. But the TUC has always been pulling it out, in favor of what we are doing, because they still wanted to be the leaders and all that. So as at now, we don't have these structures. If we had it, we have organized labor structure, this problem will not come. How can the medical officers opt out? The nurses are out. This group is out. It is because we do not have our structures in place. But when we have the structures, such a decision will even come from the locals, from the branches, from the district to the region before it comes to the national for us to take decisions on it.
So essentially, what we are seeing now is the result of a disorganized, organized labor.
Completely disorganized. We are not organized. So we don't take such decisions, which was okay. It was okay for the country. But the process, the approach, wasn't the best. Because you don't declare strike at the top there when your grassroots members or your locals are not, they don't even understand why you are doing that. So you start to discuss at the levels, the branches, for them to discuss these challenges of Galamsey, and so it will build up to the top. So when you say, hey, let's move, everybody understands what you are doing. You heard at the region, one lecturer, they say he's MPP. That's not even the issue. But he came with very, very, sensible concerns. That, you have the class like we are not aware. How did you arrive at that decision? So you see, it is the approach and our own structures. That's the problem that we had. I'm not surprised. I knew that nothing was going to come out of this. It would have been better if we had embarked on demonstrations. That we have even brought some results. Instead of declaring,
a strike. But then there are those who say that what has happened today is a betrayal of the Ghanaian people. You, organized labor, you betrayed Ghanaians. Do you agree with that?
No, what betrayal? What I'm saying is that we don't have the structures. And GFL, we have taken this matter to court. You see, to make sure that we put proper structures in place. We don't have it. So it's like somebody who has no weapon and he goes about threatening people. I'll shoot you. I'll do this. I'll do that. You know what? You yourself, the weapon you are holding is empty. There is no bullet. Nothing is in it. They go about just, threatening. When the person challenges you, you fire, nothing. Nothing comes. Nothing. No bullet.
I see. But quick one, comes before I let you go. There are those who suspect that there's some personal interests at play. People have been compromised at the leadership front of organized labor. You are there. Do you suspect same?
Why not? I do. Because, you see, government, every government, we have very big ears, big eyes, big long hands. So where they can see, you cannot see. So they have a way of not only this regime. I mean, it happens from the military up to the they do it. So if you are not organized yourself, they will easily infiltrate and do so many funny things that it happened. And I won't be surprised if really I haven't seen any money there, because they will not even attempt. I need money, but not this blood money. I don't like it. They won't even attempt. But I know some people, their morals are such that they don't care. Even if the money is coming from Kukufuri's camp, they will take it. So that one, it happens. But I cannot point at anybody that this man took this or that. That one I can't tell. But we all suspect, because people started, mentioning some amount and all that. It could be true, because it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we got into this stage without any result. Because that these gallant stop, these task forces none of them worked. And so if government is again promising, why is it possible? They cannot. Nothing will happen. I'm telling you. If the state of emergency had been declared, that one, even the chiefs and opinion leaders at various where this mining is taking place could have been, brought on board to help. And the small-scale miners too could have all been brought on board for them to help. Or otherwise, their business too also spoil. But they say no. I don't know why they are scared about this. You just pass LI something that everybody can enter the forest reserves. Is it not madness? Madness to do this. You have met everybody up with this foolish LI. Then you have now is he going to reverse the harm that has been done to the forest and the water? What kind of human beings are that? How do they think like this? How do we elect such people to lead us? Cool.
Mr. Ocansey, I appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's the General Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Labour, one of the key members of the organized labour in this country, Abraham Ocansey there.
Well, a confirmation of the fact that indeed organized labor may be divided at the top and even within its members. The president of the University of Ghana chapter of Utah, Professor Ransford Jampo, has also been speaking following the decision of organized labor.
We met here last Monday, right? And we were told that government has made certain proposals. And the proposals were that government was going to take steps to revoke the LI that allows people to go into our forest to mine it down. And government was also going to send some military to prevent people from destroying our waters and other things. And then we all agreed that these are not serious interventions that would immediately halt mining. Our view was that at least in the interim, let government place a moratorium, on mining, so that we can all dialogue on the way forward. But we realize that everything else that the government will be doing, but people will still be mining. And so that was what we agreed on. Now, last night they called us. When they were going to meet government, they didn't tell us. But they called us that, they've met government and government has said something new. And so we were excited. I wanted to come and listen to what new government has.
You said they called you. Who called you?
I'm talking about the leadership of organized labor, Bampo, and then Joshua Ansa. So we came and then we wanted to listen to what was new. We met in a meeting here, and then they came with a prepared statement. And then they read the statement to us to the effect that government had done things well, and government has enhanced response to our demand. And so then they are calling off the strike. That was after you guys in the media were asked to step out. And so some of us said that, you called us into a meeting to discuss. So how come you came with a prepared statement? And they apologized and said, they were just reading, they wanted to discuss. So give and take, we raised our views, we made our points, and we realized that the very things that the government said it was going to do, which we discussed, government has shown commitment, and so let us call off the strike. Well, our view as UTAG, as of yesterday, the 16 public universities, we had voted to go on strike as our response, to the fight against illegal mining. And we did not even, I looked at the motion that was tabled, it was not even tied to what organized labor wanted to do. And so I'm in touch with my national president. Clearly they came with an agenda. Look, there are so many things that are being said about the leadership of organized labor and the kinds of things that happened here. First is those bogus charges and allegations. Otherwise, if you want to meet with organized labor, why do you come with a prepared speech? And what was read to you was the same as the document the speech that they brought to us. And so everything that was said, contrary to what they had prepared, was not taken on board. And so must we by all means do things to support a government's position, even if we are dying as a people?
Professor Ransford Jampo there. He's the president of the University of Ghana chapter of UTAG. You're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Michael Obodu is standing by with the latest in business. Don't go away.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported.
All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
And hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, Association of Ghana Industries AGI cites supply chain constraints as a major challenge to government's industrialization agenda. I am Michael Obodu. I'll bring you details of this and more shortly. Please stay. And thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story, and President of the Association of Ghana Industries AGI, Dr. Humphrey Yim-Dake, has highlighted significant supply chain constraints as a major obstacle to the government's efforts to drive industrialization. Speaking at a recent forum, he emphasized the need for immediate interventions to address the bottlenecks affecting the smooth flow of raw materials and essential components in the country, which are critical to the success of the government's industrial transformation transition agenda. Dr. Eyim Dake called for collaborative efforts between industry players and the government to find sustainable solutions.
If you had connected the dots carefully, you would have deepened the supply chain constraints. That has been one of the difficulties of industrialization in Ghana. The value chain would also be created. So in the context of AGWA, similar thing happened when we were not able to deepen the supply chain and also the auxiliary value chain for those who were interested. Secondly, targeting. You will need to do targeting. Target your growth pools. Target sectors that you want to see significant changes in your BOP, your balance of payment, through the port of entry. When you do such strategic targeting within your enclave, believe me to be within 3, 4, 5 years, you see the value chain and you create jobs in the value chain. And as you do that, the bigger challenge then becomes, and he mentioned that, what are the other constraints that are limiting the growth of non-informal enterprises to formal and to big enterprises?
So that was President of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Dr. Humphrey Eyim Dake. Away from that, the Ghana Chamber of Mines has reiterated its commitment to maintaining the highest safety standards in the use of cyanide, despite no recorded incidents in recent years. Cyanide, though highly toxic, plays a crucial role in extracting gold and silver from ores through a process known as cyanidation. Speaking at the Cyanide Code Implementation and Auditing Workshop, Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Engineer Suleiman Kone, emphasized the industry's ongoing efforts to ensure its members remain updated on improved protocols for handling the chemical responsibly.
It's understandable when people get jitters about cyanide because we all know that cyanide is quite hazardous if it's not handled properly. However, I mentioned the International Cyanide Management Code, which most of our mining companies, member companies, are signed on to. And it allows a kind of assurance that once you are signed on, you have third-party verification of the various protocols that you've actually signed on to, the commitments you have signed on to regarding responsible management of cyanide. And that should actually assure, the general public that we have a responsible industry which is mindful of its obligations to its employees, to the environment, and also to the community.
So you heard the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Engineer Suleiman Kone. Now, away from that, the Minister of State at the Energy Ministry, Herbert Kwapa, has stated that Ghana is moving towards ultra-deep water production, requiring advanced technologies and huge capital investments. Speaking at the 7th edition of the Local Content Conference and Exhibition, he mentioned efforts being made to attract more investment into the country's oil and gas industry.
The Local Content Conference and Exhibition, organized annually by the Petroleum Commission of Ghana, seeks to promote local content and participation in the upstream petroleum industry. Energy Minister Herbert Kwapa stated some measures being undertaken to make investment in Ghana more attractive.
Our plan is to continually evolve our fiscal terms to be more progressive for investment. But I should assure you also that we are not giving away our oil resources on a silver platter in the name of investment attraction, nor under the high pressures of energy transition.
CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fable Jr., who touched on the theme, attracting exploration and production investment to boost local content, new pathways, disclosed that Ghana's oil exploration and production space has recently taken a downward trend in new investments, production volumes, and general activity levels, despite the initial growth and the string of successes. He was of the view that if Ghana is unable to attract and retain exploration and production investment into its upstream sector, local content will stagnate.
In analyzing what has led to the status quo, the conclusions arrived at are not of rocket science learnings. What the Petroleum Commission will not dabble in is satisfying as we step up efforts to attract the needed investments. The Ministry of Energy and the Petroleum Commission are committed to and doing all that is possible to attract new investments into Ghana's E&P space.
The conference attracted participants from players in the industry from Namibia, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, among others. Irama Smith, TV3 News, Takrady.
Well, on that note, that'll be all for today's edition of the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports.
We're live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. Let's get into the world of sports now. Oreku Ampofo is here. Oreku, it's good to have you.
Yeah.
We're hearing some breaking news coming through in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What's it about?
Well, it's about the captaincy for the Black Stars ahead of the doubleheader against Sudan. And Otoado has just announced that Mohamed Kudus would lead the team against Sudan on Thursday at the Accra Sports Stadium. I think it's not too much of a surprise, given that for a long time now, journalists, fans have been curious about what the leadership structure of the Black Stars is. The last time that the Ghana Football Association officially communicated who the captains are for the team was around 2019 or so, where it was Andrea Ayew, and then we had Thomas Partey and then Richard Ofori. In this instance, this particular call-up, there's no Partey, there's no Ofori, there's no Ayew. Otoado was asked in the last press conference ahead of the games against Angola and then Niger who his captains are. He mentioned that he hadn't thought about it, but it was Thomas Partey, and possibly if Thomas is not around, maybe he consider Kudus, Salisu, Jiku. He didn't mention Jordan's name, although Jordan had captained his first two games against Nigeria and Uganda, but we knew he was in the mix, and so this brings some clarity on at least who would lead the team tomorrow.
And especially because the point you make about Jordan Ayew, he's in this team, is it not?
Yes, he's in the squad.
What in your view could be the reason why Kudus has been chosen over Jordan for this particular game?
Well, I think at this point it's pure conjecture. I just think the only way Kudus would be leading the team tomorrow is if Jordan doesn't start. As I mentioned, when Otoado permanently accepted this job in his first couple of games against Nigeria and Uganda, when Andrea Ayew was not starting, Jordan was the captain. And so I do believe if he's in the team, he probably is the captain because of the experience that he has. He's been in the team for a very, very long time. He's become very vocal since the AFCON. But it could also be that Jordan could potentially be in the team, and Otoado has just decided to go with Kudus, which again wouldn't surprise me because remember Otto came in, it's almost like a second coming, where the theme was that he's going to focus on a new era. A new era that's built around young players. There's no better person to communicate that than Kudus and making him your captain. I think he is the leader of the next generation of the Black Stars. Handing him this responsibility at this young age could go two ways. The pressure could melt him, which I don't think would, or it could make him. I think it could give him that extra responsibility for him to fight for his country. And if you look at his track record, definitely he has enough to show for this armband. I think if you're looking at the Black Stars, apart from Jordan, he's made 36 appearances since his debut against South Africa in 2019. And in those appearances, he's got 11 goals and 4 assists. Not many have been more productive than him. And for Kudus, I think he's the type of leader that demonstrates everything on the pitch. Right. When he plays, he leaves everything on the pitch. You could see from his jersey last time they played at the Kumasi Babara Sports Stadium, it was torn. He's going to leave everything on the pitch, and that's how I feel he's going to lead. He would not be maybe the most vocal or the most aggressive leader, but he would fight and leave everything on the pitch. And I think a lot of the young guys look up to him, the Right to Dream boys, a lot of young boys coming in through from the Nima enclave and then all over. So I think he would be an inspiration for the next generation, and it's a bold call, but one that I think perhaps is in the right direction.
Essentially, he has what it takes to be captain of the Black Stars at this point. correct?
Yeah, I think for where we are going, if we're deciding to call younger players, then I think, Kudus is the man to lead the next generation.
And I've seen a video on the GFA site and also the reactions of the president of GFA, Keto Kreko, about the character, the attitude, and the commitment of the players as well. And that's got a number of people talking. What was he seeking to communicate in that meeting, really?
Well, I think in the end, he's trying to put some fire in the belly of the players. You do understand where he's coming from, the frustration with the national team, especially given the fact that many would have thought that after the good performances against Mali and Central African Republic, the team would sort of build on that and then go to the next level. It was almost like 2 steps backwards. If you saw the games against Angola and Niger, the nature of the goals, the body language didn't look too great. And perhaps he just wanted to maybe put some fire in their bellies again and remind them what it means to play for Ghana. The idea itself is not wrong. Maybe with regards to the deliverance or the mode of communication or the choice of words or even making it public, these are some of the concerns that people have shared. Some definitely do agree with him and believe that this team do need some awakening. Some also believe that the video shouldn't have been made public. It should have been a private thing. And some also do think that the words were very harsh. I think in the end, the most important takeaway for me is the fact that we're not supposed to be talking about this 24 hours to a game.
Absolutely.
It's sort of a... I feel in the end, the FA is separating themselves from the Black Stars in the sense that no matter what happens tomorrow, they kind of win. If the Black Stars win, yay, Ket put something in them and they're playing well. If they don't win, Ket has tried his best, has said all of these things.
Absolutely.
These boys are just not good enough. It's almost like you're separating yourself from what happens tomorrow. And that's why the video shouldn't be made public, in my opinion. You can say look, worse things have been said in dressing rooms. But the difference is that you just don't see it.
Absolutely. And this is not the first time it's happening. I mean, I've seen a couple of such videos, is it not?
Yeah.
There's some precedents to this.
Yeah. It's been happening. It's been happening a lot. And I think what's important is that there needs to be context attached. That this is, if you chose a young coach, Otoado, and someone who hasn't coached professionally before, he's coming permanently now, and he's only coached 4 games, 1, 2, and then hasn't won maybe 2, and now you are coming in shouting it's almost like an overreaction.
Absolutely.
Because you know what you went for when you chose a young manager and you gave him a long-term contract. You said you are going to give him time to build. So what's changed now?
Settings.
Yeah, all of a sudden
they call it settings.
I feel it's a bit of an overreaction, but it doesn't change the fact that they have to try and win tomorrow. It's very important that they do.
It is indeed. Oreko, thank you so much. There's more on 3 Sports across all social media platforms. Make it 8. And visit 3 Sports across social media platforms for some more. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. If you're just joining us, this is Hot Edition. Even though organized labor has suspended the October 10th strike, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, Ghana Federation of Labor have disagreed with that stance. They have indicated they will go on strike tomorrow, departing from the position of organized labor. We'll see how things play out tomorrow and beyond. Still on this matter of illegal mining, former President John Agyekum Kufuor has called for justice to be served on the Stop Galamsey demonstrators who allegedly committed some breaches during the recent protests. However, he emphasized the need to find a lasting solution to the menace of illegal mining, which has been a major concern for government and citizens alike. Former President's call for justice comes after a recent incident in which a group of demonstrators allegedly blocked major roads, among other offenses. We remain at your election command center. Some 59 days to election day, December 7, and already the heat is increasing, going up every day with respect to the expectations of the political parties here on your election command center.
And you're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to Campaign Trail. Now, Campaign Trail will start from the Electoral Commission, and the Commission is set to announce the printing of notices of poll and ballot papers for the December 7 general polls from Friday, October 11, 2024. Now, in a statement issued by Samuel Tete, Deputy Chairman in charge of operations at the EC, he indicated that the printing will take place at various printing houses, including Accra Acts Commercials or DOCO, Ghana Publishing Company, Accra Central Back Press or Fanco, among others. Now, the statement requested selected agents of political parties to report to the Director, Electoral Services on Thursday, that's today, October 10, 2024, for a brief orientation before the commencement of the printing. And we are joined on the line by Dr. Rashid Tanko Mohammed, Computer. He is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the opposition NDC. Good evening to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, dear. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Doc, I believe the NDC has received an invitation from the EC for this orientation, as it were, ahead of the printing of notices of polls and ballot papers. Any comments or concerns?
Yes, we received the letter this afternoon, and we responded appropriately. We are not going to accept this, because if they are printing notices of poll, we have no problem. And you cannot print ballot papers when you don't have ballot statistics. You don't even know the register. You don't have a register. And then you are printing ballot papers. On what basis are you doing that?
When did the NDC receive the invitation?
Today, this afternoon.
And have you made this known to the Electoral Commission?
Yes, we have responded by a letter signed by the General Secretary, indicating our position that we don't subscribe to that.
To the printing of ballot papers when you haven't...
We don't have the ballot statistics.
What has been the response of the EC to this?
Well, we've also sent our letter to them, and we are meeting them tomorrow.
Tomorrow, what time? Hopefully before the orientation is expected to take place?
Tomorrow, 11. We'll be there.
But beyond this issue, how is the NDC looking generally at this?
That is our position. If we don't have the ballot statistics, and then we have the code book of the register, we are not going to proceed with any printing of ballot papers. We cannot do that. It's illegal. On what basis are they going to do that? On which numbers or which figures are they going to print the ballot papers?
So what you're trying to say is that during this meeting, if you don't reach an agreement, you would protest the Electoral Commission from going, or you protest against its decision to go ahead with it?
Certainly. That's what we are going to do.
Your call has been put on. We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. And you heard Dr. Rashid Tanko, Computer, Position NDC. And we were talking about the Electoral Commission printing notices of poll and ballot papers for the December 7 general elections from Friday, October 11. The statement from the Electoral Commission named some publishing houses or printing houses that the EC would be using. Let me just run through some of them for you. Act Commercials, which is at Odoko, Ghana Publishing Company, Accra Central Back Press, also at Ofanko, InnoLink Limited, North Industrial Area, Fonstat Limited, South Industrial Area, Checkpoint Limited, South Industrial Area, also Yasako Company Limited, Latibio Koshi. Let me just run you through again one more time. Act Commercials, Odoko, Ghana Publishing Company, Accra Central Back Press of Fanco, InnoLink Limited, North Industrial Area, Fonstat Limited, South Industrial Area, Checkpoint Limited, South Industrial Area, and Yasako Company Limited, Latibio Koshi. These are the printing houses the Electoral Commission will be using, plus many more as it goes ahead to print notices of poll and ballot papers for the December 7 general election coming this Friday.
Center Campaign Trail, National Chair of the opposition NDC, Johnson Esiedun Nketiah's 4-day tour of the Volta region has entered day 2. Esiedun Nketiah's campaign team is expected to visit Hohoi, Afajato South and South Dai constituencies as part of the NDC strategy to reinforce their hold of the Volta region. Correspondent Faisal Abdul Idris is monitoring activities there. He joins us for more updates on this. Faisal, where else have the campaign team been to?
Well, good evening, my brother. The national chairman began the campaign this morning from Hohoi, where he commissioned a mechanized borehole actually done by the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the Hohoi community within the Hohoi municipality. Right after that, he moved to Afajato South, where he met the chiefs and people of Logba, Alakbeti, and engaged them on some key policies of the NDC captured in their manifesto. From there, he moved to Pando, from Pando to the North Dine constituency. Currently, as I speak to you, he's engaging some people here at Peve in the South Dine constituency. Let me say that the key highlight of his campaign has been the fact that the past 8 years, things have been tough, and that if there is any other political party that can redeem this country, it is the NDC and John Dramani Mahama. Yesterday, for instance, when he began the tour, he actually began from the Guan constituency, and the newly created Guan constituency, which is in OT. You'll recall that in 2020, the SAR areas, that is the Santo Kofi, Akpa, Fulolobi, and Likpe, they didn't take part in the parliamentary elections. And so now that they are likely going to take part in the election, the NDC is intensifying campaign in that area, telling them that the fact that they do not have representation in parliament was a sin against them by this very government, and that they must use December 7 as an opportunity to punish the MPP government for denying them representation in parliament. Here in the Volta region, he is telling the people here that even though the Volta region is their stronghold, they do not want to take things for granted, as much as they want to win more numbers in other areas, particularly in the Ashanti region, gain more seats in the Western region. The Volta region for them is the 99 ship that they do not intend to lose, even when the special one is gone. And so they intend to reclaim all 18 seats in the Volta region, including the Hohoi one that they lost in 2020. Reason why they are here in the region to reinforce their message, make sure that the people are committed to the cause of the NDC, and to ensure that the party wins the December 7 elections.
And after today, where else are they going to?
From here, they are heading to Ho Centra. He will be engaging people in Akrofo, and then the campaign will continue tomorrow from Hojo. They will move to Central Tong, South Tong, and Akachi South. On Friday, they will move to Ketu North, Ketu South, Anglogan, and the Keta constituencies. That will bring the tour to an end.
And when are they moving to South Dai? I heard that mentioned.
Currently, we are in South Dai. We are at Peve, where he is already engaging party members and some town folks who are gathered right here at the Market Square in Peve. Let me hasten to indicate that Hohoi in particular, there is a lot to watch out for in Hohoi. Yesterday, when we got to Hohoi, there was a near clash between the NDC and the MPP. Just when the NDC was done with their engagement at Kitipa and were about moving out of the venue, another convoy of the MPP, involving the MP himself, actually joined them on the ground, and it became quite difficult for the police to control. But the police handled it carefully, such that there was not any chaotic scene. But what we saw yesterday was an indication of the kind of tension in Hohoi. We are looking forward to a peaceful election. But what is happening in Hohoi, we will be watching closely and see how things pan out in Hohoi.
I thank you so much for this update. That's our correspondent in the Volta region, Faisal Abdul Idris there.
And let's return to the Electoral Commission, because Election Watch Ghana is accusing the Commission of cronyism and corruption in the award of contract or printing of ballots and notices of polls for the December 7 general election, like I brought you just some minutes ago. Now, this comes in the wake of EC's selection of the Assembly Press and Back Press, as well as 6 others for the printing of ballots for this year's polls. In a statement, Election Watch claimed that the inclusion of Assembly Press and Back Press smacks of cronyism and corruption, alleging that the 2 institutions are led by politically exposed persons. The group also took on the EC over its recently telecast Inter-Party Advisory Committee (IPAC) meeting, describing the event as a festival of corruption and collusion between EC officials and self-serving politicians. Mark Ewusian Ako is convener of Election Watch Ghana, and we'll be bringing you his thoughts as and when we get through to him. And some more here. And if you travel a lot to Togo or Benin and still make calls to Ghana, there's some good news for you. You do not have to pay extra for the calls. This is because the National Communications Authority, NCA, has launched the ECOWAS free roaming initiative between Ghana, Togo and Benin. This means that you can now make calls abroad at the same rate as if you were in Ghana. The initiative also applies to those in Ghana who want to call relatives in Togo and Benin. This drive aims to reduce roaming charges and improve mobile connectivity for travelers across the 3 countries. Take a listen.
For the launch of the free roaming between Ghana, Benin, and Togo. The ECOWAS roaming framework, which underpins this collaborative action between member states, aims to enable our citizens to roam like at home when they travel to any member state within the West African community. Though our governments have agreed to the framework, the implementation is happening bilaterally between member states. You may recall last year, Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire operationalized the ECOWAS free roaming agreement. Today, we commemorate another milestone in the implementation of ECOWAS free roaming agreement as Ghana, Togo, and Benin give effect to the agreement. From today, our citizens can roam like at home when they visit Togo and Benin and vice versa. We can now all call, message, and use mobile data in our respective countries at no extra cost.
And you heard that Dr. Joe Anoche, he's the NCA Director General. Let's return to our earlier story about Election Watch Ghana. We're joined by Maka Ewusi Ako, his convener, Election Watch Ghana. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us more about what you mean when you say that the award of printing contract to Assembly Press and Back Press mark of cronyism and corruption, beyond your allegation that these institutions are led by politically exposed persons?
Well, I need not to give further explanations and disclose a lot of things about the 2 individuals as far as their companies are concerned. That Let My Vote Count was led by David Asante from the New Patriotic Party. He is an appointee of His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo as the head of the Assembly Press. This we can confidently tell you, and your listeners can also attest to this fact, that this is a matter of conflict of interest, looking at where David Asante is coming from and the duties the Electoral Commission is giving to him. Moreover, we are also looking at Back Press, who has a direct affiliation or friendship with the president's brother. He has also been known as one of them who have been an MPP member. And so if these things are all there as evidences, I think the Electoral Commission should not engage such people who we think are politically exposed.
But Mr. Usiaku, it will not be the first time. Okay, land on your point.
Okay, so let's go ahead. You said this will not be the first time.
Yes, there will be awarded contracts. So why are you raising an issue now?
Exactly. So we know how procurement processes are done in Ghana. And if we need to give out these contracts to companies or individuals, they go through competitive tendering. This, we didn't see anything like that. In the past, of course, we were giving contracts to such people, but we cannot continue to afford doing or committing mistakes in the past and continue to do them today. What is wrong, and what is right, which I think that we should begin doing what is right.
Again,
David Asante is an appointee of the president. We know his engagement. We know what he's done in this country as far as the NPP is concerned. And so giving such a national independent organization's contracts to him, I feel that it breaches public.
A national independent contract to him, how is that printing ballot papers, for instance, going to compromise the election in any way or the processes leading up to the elections?
You know very well that the election ought to be conducted in a more fair manner. It should also be as transparent as possible. And if we are looking at fairness in these elections, it means that you do not consider one party over the other. This is a case where you are giving the printing of ballots to an institution that is headed by an NPP person. That is David Asante.
But are you looking at, are you looking at quality, or you're just looking at the fact that it is headed by an MPP person? And when you talk about transparency, is the Electoral Commission not publishing these names transparent enough for you to know that these are the places we are going to use to print this? How else would you expect transparency?
Election-related issues is not all about quality. Are we saying that Assembly Press can print quality materials than the other companies that are printing? I don't think we can base the argument on that. But the most important thing we have established is that David Asante is an appointee of the NPP. He's managing Assembly Press. We know his activism when it comes to the previous elections. And the election ought to be very, very fair without giving any consideration to one side or the other. And we know David Asante is an NPP person. I mean, it's a clear conflict of interest.
We'll have to end it here. Maka Usiaku, convener, Election Watch Ghana.
So live here on Hot Edition. Well, that's how we bring an end to today's conversation here on Hot Edition. We're live as well on Kesmi 107.1 and on W93.5 and Y and beyond. Join me today at 10 p.m. on TV3 for Ghana Tonight. I am Alfred Ocansey.
My name is Beatrice. Thank you so much for joining us today. Log on to srinews.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.
Busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
FM 92.7.